Hi, I'm Noah Horton. I'm one of the two co-founders of Involver.com. We are a social marketing technology platform. The basic premise is if you are a marketer and you want to be doing things like running contests, giving out coupons, displaying video content, all the sorts of stuff that you want to do in marketing context, we have a platform that lets you do that very easily in social context, like on a Facebook fan page or on your own destination website or similar places where we bring in a lot of sharing technology from people like Facebook to make it rich and social and viral. Ultimately, the web sort of wants to be social. Things are a lot more exciting if it's in the context of what's going on with your friends, and if you're sort of getting the groupthink that happens of understanding what your friends like, what your friends are interested in, and you can absorb that. I think the real implications for marketers are on a lot of levels. One part of it is in social shopping, ultimately, where if I'm looking at cars, it'd be very interesting for me to be able to look at a car on the maker's website and see which of my friends are fans of this car. Then of course there's content that can be shared virally. So there's a lot of value in experiences like let's use Volkswagen as an example again. Let's say Volkswagen creates a cool online game that lets you realize exactly how fast the new GTI is. Really having social engagement inside of that, so that when people are doing stuff in it, that's getting published into the social graph. That can spread to all of your friends so quickly that just has tremendous implications for marketers. What's really interesting about this is historically ads are how marketers got people to look at the stuff they were producing, and so it was sort of it didn't matter if this was something that was really valuable to you at all. You would see ads to go look at it until you kind of gave in and clicked. A lot of what we're seeing with the social marketing these days now is marketers are depending on what your friends like, what your friends find interesting to drive messages to you. And ultimately that's better for everybody because they're having to pay less to actually get people to go enjoy the experience. And you as a consumer are usually getting access to stuff that you're more interested in because it's based on your relationships and what your friends like rather than who's buying the ad on the site you're visiting that day. Is always going to be the center of the social web.
Okay.
And marketers are going to need to have that presence on Facebook itself that's rich and robust. And so they're always going to need that. Now, they also are going to need to take all of the other stuff they're doing, be that their main website, their main corporate site, or a microsite that they're doing for one campaign, and they're going to need to make all of that social.
Okay.
And so, in fact, Involver becomes even more important because we are a layer that really lets those marketers unify those efforts across all of those different channels and actually make sense of it. Right now virtual goods are really thought of as things like stuff in Farmville or something like that. But there's a lot of there's electronic goods in the sense of access to pieces of content that have a lot of value as well. So that's actually what I see first. What happens if you're pay one Facebook credit to get access to your favorite webcomic for a week, or to get a special edition of that webcomic. That sort of thing is where I see the low-hanging fruit in the immediate terms, things that are sort of microtransactions. Then I see it starting to scale up to larger and larger goods ultimately. Honestly, I don't think you're ever going to be using credits to buy a TV online because it doesn't make sense having virtual currency for that. But ultimately, I mean, Facebook is going to have your credit card info. They can charge on your behalf, and so ultimately I see them offering really PayPal sorts of services. I think they're set up very well to do that right now. I mean, really the biggest thing would be if they want to do anything that was recurring, where you actually are automatically paying each week for your webcomic. That would take some work. But other than that, it's very straightforward and should be pretty easy for them. I mean, the biggest issue for them is they just need to execute well. Where obviously one slip in privacy, in charges getting run multiple times, those sorts of problems have big implications when you're dealing with dollars. So as long as they execute well, I don't see any big hurdles for them, and Facebook's good at executing.